everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Friday. We're working together to save our families, our communities, and our way of life. I'm thrilled that you've joined us. Thanks for watching Canceling COVID. I'm Tanya Rivens, and COVID-19 cases have increased in nearly half of the states in the U.S. this week. That's not good news. In fact, the World Health Organization is now saying the COVID infection rate is approaching the highest level so far. And in our question of the day, we're asking what concerns you most about COVID-19, about the pandemic right now? I mean, what's on your mind about it right now? We've kind of seen the progress, we've kind of went back a little bit, but at this moment, what is your greatest concern about the pandemic? We're finding that the more we talk about it, uh, the more we deal with it head on, the more aware we become of its dangers as well as resources in place to help us. So let's jump in the chat and share your thoughts. I'd love to have your thoughts. I see you hopping on. I appreciate that as always. So jump in and weigh in on this Friday. I know it's a pretty nice day outside. So I appreciate you taking the time, and all the loyal viewers that hop on every Wednesday and Friday. To that, I say thank you. So share your thoughts again. I really want to know what concerns you the most about COVID-19 right now. Maybe you've gotten your vaccine. Maybe you're looking at other family members. Maybe you're around people that haven't. Maybe you're concerned that we're doing all this work and now we're going in the wrong direction. I just love to hear what concerns you most. And with that said, I want to go ahead and bring in our first guest. I really appreciate him supporting us. He's a part of Mecklenburg County Health. It's Dr. Raynard Washington. He is the Mecklenburg County's Deputy Health Director, and he's been very helpful, very resourceful, and very credible in helping us lead this effort to educate our community. So, Dr. Washington, thank you. Good afternoon, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us as always.
Hey, Tanya, great to be with you.
All right, so let's start first with the question of the day. What concerns you right now about the COVID-19 pandemic, as far as we've made some progress and now we're seeing some other or getting reports of some things that are happening that are not as progressive. So what concerns you most?
Yeah, so I think I would say two things are most concerning. The first one of those is that we do know that as coronavirus or COVID-19 has really continued to spread throughout our community and throughout the world, the virus has mutated. And so there are a number of variants that are, many of the variants are not consequential. They don't have any real, it's just small changes in the genetic code. But there are some that seem to be more consequential. And the most important aspect of some of the variants is that they spread faster than the other ones, the ones that have been spreading before. And one in particular is actually becoming the most dominant strain here in the US. So certainly we're concerned about that variant continuing to spread in our community. It's here in Mecklenburg County. It does represent a large number of cases in our county. And as we're working to get people vaccinated as quickly as possible, we don't want to obviously have another big surge as we're continuing to work to get folks vaccinated. The second thing is, of course, vaccines. Concerned that everyone isn't getting in line fast enough.
Okay.
So now that we've opened it up to everyone, I just want to make sure folks get their shot.
Good, good. I want to talk to you about that in just a moment as well. But what type of numbers are you seeing here in Mecklenburg County when you speak about the surge, this new strain?
Yeah, so right now we had been we had really come from the holiday surge. We had come down to less than 100 cases a day. In the last few days or the last couple of weeks, we've been averaging closer to 250, 300 cases per day. So it's going to be going up more. We are starting to see a slight uptick in our hospitalization. So we do have more people in the hospital than we have had previously. I guess the good news I'll say is we haven't seen the individuals who are being hospitalized are tending to be a little bit younger and in a little bit better condition to fight the virus. And so not as many of them are needing to be ventilated. There are some young people on ventilators though, but certainly we are our older adults who had priority with the vaccination. We're over 70% of our older adults have been vaccinated. And so we're certainly not seeing a lot of really those severe cases among older adults.
And that's good. That's good information here. And I've already got one person, it's my sister actually, and she's an educator, and she just hopped on and said for the question of the day, she wants to hear more about the possibility of a booster shot. She's not happy about this possibility of having to take another shot after she's taken two. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think I tell folks, this is really just like potentially is like the flu shot, right? So, right now we get a flu shot every year because we need a booster and because there are new variants of the flu that circulate in our community. And so right now we don't know for sure. I do know that the CEO of Pfizer made a statement recently this week
Mhm.
saying that folks may need a booster within a year. It's not clear yet. I think the data are still being watched very closely. The folks who were in the phase 3 clinical trials are still being monitored for their antibody or immune response. So as soon as we know, we'll be back at it. But certainly, I would encourage folks to just remember that this is one of the most important tools for us getting beyond this pandemic and getting back to normal life. And so, hopefully, the shot won't be a barrier to that.
Well, you all have been doing a really great job of getting it the information out, and just speaking to the community. Roderick Wright has hopped on, and he says it's spreading because people are too stupid to stay home for one more month and let vaccinations get done. They deserve what they get. That's kind of in your face. You get what you ask for, and a lot of people are frustrated because some of us, are making the sacrifice and doing what needs to take place to help control this. And it is kind of frustrating when you see other people that just really don't care.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely tough. We are, and I get it. Folks are tired. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't know a year ago that we'd still be doing this, right? COVID would
Right.
still be the hot topic of the day. I joke with the media and I said, "What are you guys going to report on when COVID's over?" Because nobody's talking about much else.
That's right.
But certainly, I know people are tired, but we're just asking folks to be patient. Right now, we have a lot of vaccine available in the county, so there's no reason for folks not to be getting their shots right now. A lot of our clinics are turning to walk-in clinics.
Oh, wow.
So really want to encourage people to get out and get their vaccine so that we can more quickly get to back to being out and about and socializing and all those good things.
So that was going to lead into my next question, because you guys have got these vaccines open for all groups, and you're saying the demand is it not as big, it's not as great, and next you can actually start doing walk-ins.
Yeah, so what typically happens is that at some point in this kind of rollout that where you have a low supply of something, demand is usually greater than supply.
Mhm.
So now we're phasing or transitioning into that period where our supply is starting to really outpace our demand, or the sort of the ready demand. And so we are really focused now on making sure we are accessing or getting in touch with those people who aren't actively looking for a vaccine, but
Mhm.
and want to make sure that we make it as easy as possible. As you probably know, early on in this vaccine distribution, there was long wait lists, there was long hold times, there was crashing websites, there was all
Yeah.
kinds of technical difficulties that made it hard to get an appointment. And so I think now that we have a large supply of vaccine, we have 3 vaccines that are available to us. Of course, Johnson Johnson's on pause, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second.
Yes.
We still have a large volume of Pfizer and Moderna, and so I think we are at a point where we're able to offer to more availability to people as easy as possible.
So let's talk about the Johnson and Johnson pause. How has that affected you all as far as distributing vaccines?
Yeah, it's a first off, I'll say it's a pause. It's not a stop. So we're literally just paused until the committee has an opportunity to review all the data they have available to them. And I do believe that when they meet again next week, hopefully we'll get some more encouraging news from them around when we can lift the pause. But the reality is that the single dose vaccine, which is the Johnson vaccine, allows us a little bit more flexibility for certain populations.
Mhm.
So that includes folks who are more transient, like our homeless populations and folks who might be incarcerated. Our homebound vaccination program, which requires us to take a team of folks to someone's house to give them a shot, which is really resource intense, is better suited for a single dose regimen because we don't have to go back to everybody's house twice. But we have sort of changed our plans and we're now using the Pfizer vaccine for our homebound. And it's just going to take us longer to get through everyone who's requested a vaccine at home. So I think we've shifted gears really quickly. We still have a ton of Johnson and Johnson in the freezer. It's going to stay there until we're able to use it again. And again, for example, we have an event tomorrow at Camp North End, but I'm going to put a shameless plug in. If you need a vaccine tomorrow, just show up at Camp North End. We're going to be there all day tomorrow from 9 till 4, and you can just show up. You don't need to have an appointment. Yeah, so we switched that to a Pfizer event because we can't use Johnson and Johnson right now.
And actually, I was going to plug that and ask you to plug it before we go again, because people do need to know about that. So thank you for mentioning that, Dr. Washington. So I read some counties are having a low vaccine response, and not Mecklenburg included, with not only minorities, but they've got the younger people And I see other populations that are not being very receptive as well. Are we seeing any of that here?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think we vaccine hesitancy or folks who are not necessarily hesitant about the vaccine but don't feel like they need it.
Uh,
We are seeing some of that among younger populations. We certainly know that there's still folks who are not interested in the vaccine for other reasons, whether they be religious or political. And certainly, we are discouraging folks from allowing those things to stop them from saving the life of themselves and their neighbors. Again, we know the vaccines work. We've seen some really great improvements in the health of our older adults, improvements in our long-term care facilities and nursing homes, where we were having people die in those facilities every day,
yeah.
multiple people. In the last 5 weeks, we haven't had any deaths in the long-term care facilities, and our outbreaks have gone from we had 63 outbreaks, I think, about 2 months ago in
Hmm.
facilities, and I think we're down to about 9.
Wow, that's very impressive. But Dr. Washington, one of the concerns I hear from the community is, okay, that's good information now, but what about 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road? What should I be concerned about? And I think that's what I've been hearing from some people concerning this shot, the
Yeah,
vaccine.
so I would I would just tell folks, of course, we haven't studied the vaccine for years. So, I mean,
Mhm.
we haven't studied I mean, well, two things. One, the technology behind the vaccines, the science behind them has been understudied for years. I mean, that just happened the last year. It was really an opportunity to apply some science that had been in development for several years and been studied and used previously. But the vaccines don't immediately have, there's not real good reason why they would have some indication for a long-term complication. When you get injected, your body takes the information that's in the liquid and it learns from it. It
Mhm.
recognizes what COVID-19 looks like, and it teaches your immune system how to create antibodies to the virus, really the spike protein on the outside of the virus. And so what happens once your body uses that information, it gets rid of it. The body naturally gets rid of the vaccine. It doesn't stick around for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 2 years.
Okay.
So the body's able to get rid of it, and so there really isn't a good reason to think there are long-term effects or consequences. Of course, there's always the potential for that with anything we do. I mean,
Right.
taking an aspirin could have a long-term consequence, or taking a home remedy could have a long-term
Yeah.
consequence. So we need to make sure folks understand that the risk and the benefit definitely are not equal.
Well, I'm not exactly sure. Travis, she came back when you said about the flu shot. She said she never had the flu shot, never had the flu. But I think your point is still just like the flu that people get, they get the flu shot in response to having to get that vaccine. If we end up having to get it every year, that's how it should be viewed. It's something that's taken as a precaution for so
Yep.
many people. Erica Simonton Beatty, she just hopped on. She's a regular on here as well. Good afternoon to you. So I want to give you an opportunity to plug Camp North in again tomorrow. You said you had some open slots.
Yeah, so we do. So we plan to vaccinate as many as 2,000 folks tomorrow,
Oh,
um,
that's
from
huge.
9 to 4. So we have plenty of open appointments. I think at least a few hundred of them. But we have enough staff and enough vaccine to be able to take walk-ins. So
Mhm.
if you want to come over to Camp North End and get a shot with us, please do that. We will be there again from 9 until 4 tomorrow. And anyone that's over the age of 16. So because we're using Pfizer at the event now instead of Johnson and Johnson, our 16 and 17-year-olds are able to get vaccinated as well. So if you have a high schooler or a student headed off to college, bring them on out and let them get vaccinated.
That's great. You mentioned colleges. I see where Duke University and a couple of colleges and universities will require that you get the vaccination. And I think it speaks volumes that Duke University has gotten on board, especially with the prestige from their medical school. But are you having problems with people getting the one shot and then trying to get them back in for the second one?
A little bit, but not a lot. I mean, so I think in our own sort of experience with patients, the majority of patients who get their first shot come back for the second shot. Some folks come back late.
Yeah.
They don't come right at 21 days or 28 days. Some folks we see them maybe a week or so later.
Yeah.
But less than 3% of the folks that we've given their first doses to have not returned at some point for their second dose. So I would say it's a small number of people, and our team continues to do outreach with those folks to make sure that they're able to get in and get their shot.
Well, Dr. Raynard Washington, Deputy Health Director for Mecklenburg County Public Health, I really appreciate you. Is there anything else you would like to share as we wrap things up?
Yeah, no, I just encourage folks to. I know the governor's opened up stuff in the state and stuff's open and capacities are. But just be safe, be smart,
Yeah.
continue to wear your mask, and if you see a place that's crowded, don't go in. Keep moving and come back another time when it's not so crowded. And keep wearing your mask for now, and we'll get past this eventually.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Great words. Enjoy your Friday. Thanks for joining us and have
Thanks.
a
Take
wonderful
care.
weekend. All right. Talk to you soon. Again, Mecklenburg County Health, he's been phenomenal getting on and talking, answering questions, and providing information. And if for nothing else, you've got to applaud the effort. I see Altavia Jones has hopped on. Hey there. I love you too. Thank you for joining us. And you know, he said about masks. If you go somewhere and they're not wearing masks, leave. I wouldn't even take a chance whether you are with the vaccine or not, you know, regardless, if someone's not following the rules and regulations, I was trying to think where I was recently and I saw no one with a mask on. I was like, I'm not doing any business here because it's just not cool to be involved in that environment. So, question of the day, Miss Jones and Miss Beatty, if you guys would like to weigh in, we're asking what concerns you most about the COVID-19 pandemic right now. I'd love to know what are your concerns, what's bothering you right now. We've got the vaccine. We've got some people that still haven't gotten it, but we do have more freedom, opportunity to get out and do more things that we really love to do and enjoy. We've got Mother's Day on the way, and I know plenty of plans. Our kids are back in school now, at least, you know, more so on a reduced schedule, but not like it was before. So, weigh in on the question of the day. I love to share it. What about the pandemic concerns you right now? And we're going to pull up your comments and share them with everyone and love to see what you have to say. We saw online a big concern for some is that COVID-19 booster shots may be needed. Pfizer CEO said it's likely that people will have to vaccinate within 12 months of their last dose. And of course, Travis just mentioned that, and Dr. Washington addressed it. He said, look at it like the flu shot. You know, people have to get the flu shot every year. Some people don't do it, some people do. Travis says she's never gotten it and never had the flu. There are people that don't take the flu shot, and there will be people that won't. There will be people rather that won't take the booster for COVID as well. But I guess putting that out there, making you aware that that may be something that will be necessary is good to know. Right now, I want to bring in our second guest. A Black-owned pharmacy is working to close the COVID-19 vaccine gap in Charlotte. And that's so good to hear, so good to say. I asked earlier how many was he familiar with in Charlotte, and he said about four. There probably are a couple of others, but bringing in our next guest is Dr. Martez Prince. He's the owner of Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center. And Dr. Prince, your reputation precedes you. There are a lot of people that speak highly of what you provide. So thank you so much for providing that service here in Charlotte. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. Like I mentioned earlier, this is such an important conversation, and any opportunities that we can get to educate or to enlighten our community, we definitely want to do that and take advantage of it.
Well, what motivated you to open up your pharmacy on Monroe Road? I think you said you've been there now 5 or 6 years.
Yes. So, yeah. So October we entered our fifth year. So, almost, going into 6 years here. But I started working in the pharmacy industry at age 16 in Fort Pierce, Florida, where I'm from. I started in an independent pharmacy, and I just love the idea of serving the community closely and also serving without boundaries as well. I graduated from Florida A&M University in 2010. And upon graduating, I worked for a big box drugstore for about 5 years. I did the management thing. I did a lot of different things in the pharmacy arena. However, I still felt restricted when it came to actually serving the community. Black community is my passion. So therefore, I created this whole platform to be able to provide pharmacy services with community at its forefront. So we've been guiding communities to greater health for now about almost 6 years.
Well, kudos to you. Now, you started at 16. My guess is that you were working at a pharmacist, maybe like at a CVS or Rite Aid or somewhere like that, working with the pharmacy.
Well, actually, I started at an independent pharmacy. So it was a franchise of Medicine Shop, which was also Black owned as well,
Okay.
by Dr. Mark Leith. And that's where I got my start to pharmacy. And so that really inspired me, and showed me like the impact that it could have on the community. And I thought that, of course, with the change and the economy and all those things, I didn't really think it was possible to actually own a pharmacy anymore. However, once working with the big box drugstore, I seen that it was more so necessary, and so I just decided to just take a chance, and it's been working out for us. So yeah.
Well, and that works good for us in our community as well. So, what has it been like to watch this pandemic unfold, especially in those communities that you are serving?
Well, yeah, it's been challenging, of course, because it was something that kind of came out of the blue or blindsided, the average citizens. We went from 1 month of just like really enjoying it, and living life, or entering 2020 with huge visions and huge goals. And even at Premier Pharmacy, we shared a moment with Oprah, and everything. And so we were ready to take off and just really take things to the next level. However, when this pandemic came, it kind of blindsided us, and we realized that the community, there was so much information out there that it was really hard to digest that information. It was
Yeah.
really hard to find like supplies and keep everyone safe. So what my team did was we decided to help if people, or help our community digest the information by pulling all the information, putting out the facts, giving people a more simplified version of what was going on in the world, as well as being a resource of finding PPE and all those different things, and being able to get those to the community, as well as continue to serve our patients in a safe way through our free delivery service, through our curbside service. We've been so blessed that all of our vendors have really stepped up and provided so many different resources that allowed us to like really be safe and remain competitive, remain fully functional as a pharmacy.
Well, that is some great, great work that you're doing there. You kind of turned into a resource center, not just a pharmacy. But I have to go back. You said something about Oprah. So, we all set up when you say that. So, now what happened? What's the story with that?
Yeah, so in 2000, in 2020, or right before that, I was given the opportunity to create a wellness campaign for her stop here in Charlotte,
Hmm.
of course. And we really didn't know a lot of details about it. However, leading up about 10 days before the event, she hosted her 2020 My Life in Focus tour, which was to help prepare people for 2020, which, to be honest with you, was a great resource. Talked
Hmm.
about, meditation, about well-being, about just wellness all around.
Hmm.
And it really aligned with Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center, because although we're a pharmacy, and we, of course, our main goal is, or our main resource or source of business is providing prescription services to the community, we take it a step further. We're talking about, just people living their best life, people being able to utilize supplements when they can, people being able to, if they do take prescription medicines, we are looking at how to properly take those, how to get the best benefits from it. So this really was in alignment with like how we do business here at Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center. But of course, it was a great resource, a great tool, and it gave us a lot of exposure to continue to provide those services. So once the pandemic happened, we had a lot of people tuning in to what we were saying, and really helping everyone be prepared, be safe, and reminding everyone of what they needed to do in order to be successful during this pandemic.
And that's so important in our community, especially with all of the distrust when it comes to medicine, and not being familiar enough, and just not having the commitment to our health. But that certainly explains why you guys are certainly viewed as someone, somewhat of a grandmother or granddad, aunt or uncle. How you guys have been in the community and being a resource. I'm sure that has impacted your passion, has impacted the type of conversations that you're having with your customers. They obviously see you as more than it's just a business. They view you as family.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's mutual. Like, we look at everyone as a potential, this could be our grandmother, our uncle, our aunt,
Mhm.
or whatnot. And we just hope that, of course, I can't service my whole entire family. I have family all over the world.
Yeah.
And I just like, want, when they walk into a pharmacy, I would hope that the staff would take the same level and the same time with my with my family. And so I'm a firm believer in, what you put out into the world is what you receive back. So by me treating everyone else with the same respect, I know that my family should receive the same in return because I'm putting out that great energy.
And how awesome is it to have a business owner operating with integrity as well? Shout out to Florida A&M. I think that's where you said you went to pharmacy school. I know someone else in the area that's a pharmacy. He's not working as a pharmacist now, but went to Florida A&M. So shout out to you guys for accomplishing that. So what are you seeing from your patients right now? What are they saying about their concerns when it comes to the vaccine, and how do you respond to them?
Yeah, so at first we had, I would say there was more individuals concerned about the vaccine, more so about how fast the vaccine came out,
Yeah.
and different things like that, thought that the vaccine lacked research and different things. However, like Dr. Washington said earlier, the vaccine technique has been studied for years before. And just like giving, our patients the idea or the communication to understand and the information to understand exactly like what went into the vaccine. And actually, once the studies were released, being able to share with them some of those details to help them feel more comfortable with the vaccine. We had a lot of individuals who were anti-vaxxers at first, but after receiving the information, they were more on board with receiving the vaccine. And it also was important to them to actually receive the vaccine from a credible site or source. So instead of like going to a mass immunization site, they wanted to more so get their vaccine like at Premier Pharmacy or at a location where they actually had a connection and a relationship with the people that was actually administering the vaccine.
So are you guys able to operate like as a mobile unit if someone's having, say, an event at their business or church or organization to come out and do the vaccine, and do you test before you vaccinate?
Yeah, so we do have the opportunity to do that. We are a mass immunizer, with the state, and we get immunized like, anywhere basically that we have the proper resources to do so. We do provide COVID testing at Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center. However, we don't test before someone actually received the vaccine, but they have the opportunity to if they want to. And we do like screen everyone who's getting vaccinated to make sure that they are aware of their potential exposure before the vaccine,
Right.
check to see if they were treated for like if they did have COVID, how they were treated, making sure they did not receive any other vaccines in the last 14 days. So all of those things that would affect the outcome of the vaccine, we do a pretty thorough job, usually about three, they those questions about three times, with the last time being inside the examination room right before they get vaccinated in a more detailed conversation with the immunizer.
So one more question for you. Our question of the day: what concerns you most about the COVID-19 pandemic that's happening right now?
Well, I would definitely say, individuals like, letting their guards down. Some individuals that are receiving the vaccine, not really understanding that you're not fully vaccinated until 2 weeks after you receive your second dose of the vaccine. Also, the misinformation out there, individuals like, taking on to social media, putting really putting together their own synopsis of what's happening. We've learned that individuals take headlines and they run with them. So a lot of times individuals can, write those very, engaging headlines, and then the consumers fail to read the actual full article. And then, like for instance, we have individuals saying that, they receive one vaccine, they are at 76% after the first vaccine, so they just choose not to come back for the second vaccine. You have all those things, and we just ask everyone to just like, make sure that you are reading information from a credible source, that you're actually asking questions. We recommend that everyone, you get your vaccine, that you get fully vaccinated. That's extremely important as well. With all of our staff here, we can share our personal experience with being vaccinated as well, because of course, like, that was one of the things we don't offer anything that we don't agree with or wouldn't believe in.
Well, I appreciate you again, Dr. Martez Prince. He is the owner of a Black-owned pharmacy here in the Queen City, working on closing this COVID-19 pandemic. Is there anything else you would like to leave with our viewers as we close out?
No, we just ask that everyone, we encourage everyone to, to consider being vaccinated. We do our job at educating you on the vaccine, but of course, ultimately, it's your choice. We just hope that you actually, take into consideration the positive outcomes of this whole vaccination experience. We have appointments opening usually daily. We vaccinate throughout the whole entire day. Sometimes we vaccinate up to 100 people or 100 appointments a day.
Oh, wow.
It's very easy for you to vaccinate with us. If you go to our website, yourwellnesskey.com, click on schedule your COVID-19 shot, and we give you 3 steps. It's simple as 3 steps to your shot at a normal life. We ask everyone to just, follow those 3 steps, schedule your appointment. We schedule your appointment by vaccination type. So if you have a preference on vaccine, then you can schedule your appointment by vaccination type. However, of course, with Johnson & Johnson being on pause right now, we do not offer that vaccine. And then also, if there is not the vaccine that you prefer available, we do. All the vaccines are great. All the vaccines are effective. Don't decline just because the vaccine that you prefer is not available. Don't lose your chance at being vaccinated. Just make sure that you read everything, you go through all 3 steps, get your appointment schedule, show up and do your part to help us provide immunity in our community.
So I knew I was going to say that was it, but how many would you say you vaccinated so far to date?
So right now, Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center has been vaccinated for 6 weeks, and we've right now we've reached about 16 as of today, about 1,600 vaccines.
Wow. Are there any other programs or clinics that you all offer that you'd like to share?
So we are a full service pharmacy. We offer free delivery. We have so many different, things and different ways that you can support Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center. We have regular prescription services. We do delivery throughout the city of Charlotte. In addition to that, we have a on-site minute clinic. We do laboratory testing as well for certain laboratories. We provide immunizations, not just COVID immunizations, but your flu vaccines, your shingles shot, so many other different vaccinations that are needed. In addition to that, we have we're a UPS access point. We have so many different ways that you can support Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center, as well as full service retail space that offer a lot of different products and Black-owned businesses as well. We support a lot of our local small businesses. We have their products, we carry their products, their lines in our store. In addition to that, around June, you'll have the opportunity to not only shop at Premier Pharmacy located on Monroe Road, but also Premier Pharmacy located in West Charlotte across from Johnson C. Smith University.
Woohoo! So
At
that's a
Little
new
Five
location
Points.
coming, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations. This is so exciting. I'm so happy to have you here. And I heard you say Meta Clinic. Does that mean you can help people get, ready for swimsuit season? Is that part of it? Like trying to lose weight
Yes.
and tone up?
So our nurse practitioner runs our clinic, and they have a host of services that they offer, and one of them is those type of services as well.
Wow, that's good stuff. I know I have to let you go. It's been great talking with you. One more time, how people, if they want to go ahead and schedule to get their vaccination with Premier.
Yeah, go visit our website. That's www.yourwellnesskey.com, or we have a direct site for our vaccinations. That's PPAWC for Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center.com. Right there, you see that it's 3 easy steps to your shot at a normal life and to help us provide immunity in our community. And for those of you who actually need assistance with getting scheduled, we are very hands-on with our staff. Where if you are unable to stand for those elderly population, or maybe in a wheelchair or anything like that, we also provide direct vaccination services right to your car as well in our parking lot.
Oh, Dr. Prince, thank you again so much for all that you're doing to serve our community. And thank you for taking the time to talk with us. I certainly appreciate it. Enjoy your day, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And just had Franklin Russell hop on and said, just to note, I know a lot of our people wanted to take the Johnson and Johnson because it was only one shot. However, I've had both Moderna and I believe it's Moderna and had absolutely no issues, no problems. It's okay to take two. Just get the vaccine. It's worth it. So thank you for weighing in on that, Reverend Russell, and thank you for hopping on. Guys, we've gone over by about 5 minutes. But it was great talking to Dr. Washington and Dr. Prince, and I'm excited. Congratulations to Premier for their new clinic or pharmacy that's opening up. You heard it first here, folks, across from Johnson C. Smith. And that's what we do. So as we wrap things up, I certainly appreciate you again for joining us on this Friday. I look forward to you joining me this Sunday. A great conversation, inspiration, and information, 7 a.m. on Streets 1033, 100.5 FM. It sounds of inspiration. Together, we plan to cancel COVID. Have a wonderful day, folks. Again, as always, life's challenges make you better, not bitter. I'm Tanya Rivens. Thanks for tuning in. And again,